Make Peace with Nature is a syndicated public affairs presentation of this station, dealing with solutions to problems of energy, conservation, and the environment. Today's program will be hosted by David Surber.
Hello, and welcome to Make Peace with Nature. Cincinnati is an important Midwestern city which sits along the Ohio River and, as with Rome, is built on 7 hills. It is home to a world-class orchestra and a grand music hall which rivals many here and in Europe. It has beautiful parks, museums, and public squares, and its share of Fortune 500 companies, including the world headquarters of Procter & Gamble. And, adding to its list of distinctions, it can now claim to be a national leader in the design and construction of environmentally sound buildings, commonly called green buildings. Foremost among them, the newest, tallest, and most energy-efficient structure in the city, the 660-foot Great American Tower, with 800,000 square feet of office and retail space. The building has been certified to have been constructed according to the rigid standards of the U.S. Green Building Council, entitled to be designated as a LEED structure. LEED, spelled L-E-E-D, is an acronym for Leadership in Energy and Development Design. I have with me in the studio an energetic and acutely intelligent young man who has a serious interest in LEED certification, so much so that he has spent time and money to redesign his own office space such that it has received Platinum LEED status, the highest possible rating. Chuck Lorre is principal of Lorre & Associates, a marketing communications firm located in a restored 1850s apartment building in what is called Over the Rhine in Cincinnati. More about Chuck and his vision for Cincinnati, energy efficiency, and design after this. We need studio.
The views expressed on Make Peace with Nature are those of the participants and not necessarily those of this station or the program's underwriters.
That building is certainly not the newest, but in some ways I suppose it's one of the grand old buildings. It's circa 1850 rather, and it is where this young man, my friend and colleague in the environmental movement, Chuck Lorre, has redesigned and rearranged his office, more than just rearranged and redesigned, as you will see shortly when we begin to show some pictures of what he has done. So he, in his own small way, has achieved the same status of this multi-million-dollar tower you saw at the beginning of the program. So,
well, thank you, David.
Yeah.
That's a nice comparison.
Right, right. Same thing. You both got the platinum plaque, right?
Well, Great American Tower is, was a pre-certified LEED Gold.
So it was certified before it was built?
And it can do that because it's a development project, so they're building it to encourage people to come and rent space in the building. So for what's called LEED, for core and shell, or buildings built for the market, they can pre-certify those buildings, but they're on track to receive their gold certification.
I thought it, did I misspeak then? I thought it had a platinum certification.
You might be right. I'm not sure.
I thought
it was a very high level of leadership.
Well, if I am mistaken and they only have the gold level, then you're certified to a higher level. Well,
yes, and also in the city, immersion design is a LEED Platinum, and Fernald, the Fernald Visitor Center is LEED Platinum, and then there's the entry village at the Cincinnati Zoo is LEED Platinum.
I'm told that, corrected for size and population, Cincinnati may have the largest number of LEED certified buildings in the entire country. Is that possible?
Oh, very much so. The city of Cincinnati passed an ordinance in 2007 giving a tax abatement to both homes and commercial buildings that are built to LEED certification. So that's brought a whole group of homes and commercial buildings, much like the Great American Tower, to be LEED certified. Plus, they also in 2007, Cincinnati Public Schools decided that all their new schools were going to be LEED certified. There's 20 on that component, plus University of Cincinnati decided that all their buildings would be LEED certified. So they have 6 presently, and now I understand that the Hamilton County is got on the bandwagon, and they're going to renovate the Times building there on
800 Broadway.
To be LEED for existing buildings. And Columbia Township just adopted the Cincinnati ordinance that they'll offer a tax abatement for LEED buildings. So it's a tremendous momentum building, and in this tough environment, to be in the building industry, it's quite an advantage to get a tax abatement for.
All right. Let me ask you this: if you said for homes, so it can be you can give it for a residence, an office building, as you have done, that sort of thing. It doesn't have to be something then you start from scratch. So if they're going to take the old Time Star tower, the Post and Time Star at 800 Broadway, they're not going to be able to do much with the outside of that because it's a magnificent existing building. So that any certification will have to be based upon internal improvements, right?
Well, they'll need to improve the windows, and they'll have to improve the HVAC systems. Recently, Messer Construction achieved that on their existing building, LEED for existing buildings, as it's called. And they'll use green cleaning policies, and they'll use green consumables, and they'll also make efforts to reduce their water consumption by using low flow flush and fixtures in the bathrooms.
Right. If you have 2 pieces of property and you have an architect design a building, a home to set on a nice piece of property, and you design it according to the conventional non-LEED type certification, and then you change your mind and decide, well, we're going to make this a really green building. There is first of all, the underlying motive is a energy savings down the road, right?
Yes, yes.
But up front, it's going to cost more to build the home to LEED standards, is it not?
Well,
or is it?
You know, Great Traditions built a Homerama home in that area where the Homerama was in Montgomery, and a good builder like Huber, John Huber Builders, very little difference between a well-built home and a LEED home. They may just have to use certain type of ceiling materials in the bathroom. So a well-built home is easily LEED certified.
I see. But I thought those thermopane windows, which would be one of the key elements to a home in terms of loss of heat and cooling in the building, would provide, as in the Time Star building has hundreds of windows. Those windows are much more expensive than conventional windows, are they not?
Well, they're not overly expensive. The Art Academy here on Jackson Street in Cincinnati, they preserved all the old casement windows. They had the small panes, and they took each one of those panes out and they put a dual pane, much more efficient glazing in each one of those windows. And I expect that's probably what they'll do with the Times building.
All right, well, let's set the stage for your office. It's what, some 800 square feet, 850. The building itself was built in 1850, so it would take a great deal of money. I'm not trying to press the issue of this money. Wouldn't it take a lot of effort to make the entire building LEED certified? You correct me. I'm asking the questions. You know the answers.
You know, some numbers that are common are if it's a small project under around 10,000 square feet, you might be 5% more. If it's a larger project like the Great American Tower, it may only be 2% more.
Really?
And some of that cost is the professionals that you need to employ, like myself. I do LEED, help buildings get LEED certified. There's a lot of documentation that you have to do, and there's also then fees to the U.S. Green Building Council. But my office started as 6 apartments in a row house built in 1850 right near Washington Park, and 2004, architect Martha Schickel-Dorf with Schickel Design moved her office from Loveland, wanted to move back in the city and renovate that building, and had a vision for, you know, renovating and urban renewal all the way from Pleasant Street up to Findlay Market from Washington Park. So she took the building down to its walls and made each floor continuous, so it wasn't broken up into, you know, 2 apartments on each floor. Her office, Schickel Design, is on the first floor, and then the second floor was an apartment, and then she has her residence on the third, and then she also built a terrace into the fourth.
And your office floor. Is on the second floor.
Second floor, and
you occupy the entire second floor.
Yeah, it was an apartment, but you know, it was available, and I wanted to, you know, to have an opportunity to move down and over the Rhine, and so I moved into space in March 1st of 2010, and it was a lot easier to make that space LEED, a high level of LEED, than my other office in East Walnut Hills. So I was able to achieve LEED Platinum by moving into that space there on the second floor.
Well, we have a couple of minutes left in this segment, but after we come back, after this segment, we'll show some slides that you've been kind enough to take for us. It set the stage generally. What sort of things did you have to do to convince the U.S. Green Building Council that this was worthy of this high status?
Well, it's recycled and regional materials, and I replaced all of the light bulbs, and I used a lot of Energy Star equipment in my office. So it's, and reused things as well, and improved the indoor air quality, and also I was able to help landscape the outside of the building, and that was part of the LEED for commercial interiors, as it's called.
What do you expect? I've got to ask you exactly. We have time to discuss this. The tax abatement. Are you being excused for the increased value of the building for a period of years?
There's no tax abatement for the LEED for commercial interiors. The tax abatement is just for new or new home construction, or complete gut home construction, or for new construction for commercial property, or a major renovation, like taking a warehouse like the Edge is doing and making it into offices. So,
what is the nature of the tax abatement?
Well, it's a tax.
What sort of tax abatement?
It's a tax abatement on the building only, not the land. So for residences, it's up to $535,000 of value of the home structure itself, not the land, if you're LEED certified, LEED Silver, or LEED Gold. But if you are LEED Platinum, if you're building to LEED Platinum standards, there's no cap on the value of the property. And we have several...
So you mean that they're not paying any property tax at all on the building?
The structure, yes.
On the structure. So that's nullified for how many years?
15 years for homes.
Why in the hell wouldn't anybody be?
Everybody is doing it, and that's what's making Cincinnati the epicenter for the contractors and the material suppliers and the professionals. And you know, shortly we're going to have such a concentration of LEED projects here in the Cincinnati that
isn't anybody complaining about the loss of tax revenue when the city's laying
firemen and policemen off? They offer a 10-year tax abatement to build in over the Rhine. So it's an incentive. The cities offer tax abatements to bring the young professionals into town. I know they do, but the city's not awash in cash. But those young professionals that move into the city and build homes are very valuable people to encourage. Just encourage the home ownership back into the city. It's a wonderful publicity and improvement for the city.
Okay. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
The views expressed on Make Peace with Nature are those of the participants and not necessarily those of this station or the program's underwriters.
We have some tasteful, stylish photographs. Well, they are. Why do you laugh? You took them.
Well, that's right. I am
Are you saying your own headquarters
They
are tasteful and stylish?
They're tasteful and stylish.
All right. Don't get on the bad side of the moderator. Anyway, folks, we'd like to begin the slideshow now, please.
Well, this is a view. Martha took this shot of the exterior of the building. It was just an 1856 shotgun apartments. They're right just north of Washington Park.
Okay.
And then this is a closer up of the
view.
First floor. That's the Schickel design. Martha completely gutted this in 2004 and moved her office from Loveland to over the Rhine.
All right.
And this is what I did to landscape the property. Since Martha used concrete, a light-colored concrete for her parking lot, I was able to get the heat island reduction for non-roof. And part of that was to demonstrate this 50% pattern in the pavers. That's the U.S. Green Building Council wants to encourage you to have vegetated area. So that qualify for that, plus the black-eyed Susans and the Coreopsis and the honey locust is drought tolerant. And they're all fed by this rain pot, as I call it. It fills up from the drainage off of half of the roof, and it's a 60-gallon rain barrel and works very well.
Well, why can't the rain that falls out of the sky nourish the plants and the trees? I missed the point here.
Well, I am just establishing the plants, and with U.S. Green Building Council, you're allowed to water the plants for the first year to get them established, and they'll probably will establish themselves well. But there's no limit to using rainwater to water your plants. And plants always do better if they have more water.
Right.
So,
All right.
and this is the entrance of my office, and that's a pellet stove that I installed. It's considered a renewable energy resource by the U.S. Green Building Council. I wanted to demonstrate that. I couldn't install solar panels or put solar hot water heaters, but since the pellets are made from sawdust or agricultural waste, then they're considered renewable because they would release their carbon anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's acceptable to burn this. And
all right, this small stove heats the entire office?
Well, it could heat the whole office, but the circulation is not very well, so it's just a supplemental heat. It heats about a quarter of the office, the front office.
All right.
It's an EPA certified pellet stove. I learned that teaching renewable energy classes at Cincinnati State. It has completely separate combustion, and it only warms the air that comes into the room, and it's very easy to install. You just punch a hole back through the back end of the fireplace.
So it has to have a flue?
No, it's a forced air flue. So the combustion air gets forced through just the back wall. There's a pipe in the back wall, and the warm air gets circulated. It gets warmed and then circulated into the office.
All right.
And that's our plaque that we received LEED Platinum May 5th. We're the 8th LEED Platinum LEED for commercial interior in the United States. We got 86 points. The U.S. Green Building Council offices in Washington, D.C. is also LEED Platinum for commercial interiors. And this is our old Globe Warnke desk. We reused all of our desks from our former office, and you get green building points for that.
Not buying new stuff.
Right.
All right.
And also this shows the Energy Star appliances. We have 91% Energy Star appliances and office equipment in our office. We did have to buy a new mini fridge, and I was lucky to find that Canon copier that's Energy Star, and we.
Okay.
Plus, I made a cover for the sink area to give us more counter space with a Forest Stewardship Council wood, and then I painted it with shellac. That's low VOC. It met low VOC requirements. And this is our most popular subject of the office. It's our integral hand washing station above our water closet for our toilet. So the water you use to wash your hands is what flushes the toilet the next time. It's the second gray water toilet in the city of Cincinnati.
How can you be sure of that? Have you been in every home in Cincinnati?
I have been in every lead office, and I know as a fact that it's as Howshed, Green Source has the first one.
I see. All right. Certainly does seem efficient, doesn't it, to wash your hands
Absolutely.
and supply that same water to flush the
toilet should have that feature.
And that's a close-up of the faucet.
Yeah, all the other fixtures in the office have very low flow aerators. But that wasn't enough to get us to the 30% water savings. I had to have that integral hand washing station.
All right.
And I started out as a marketing communications firm. I've done that for 30 years. And then in 2003, I bought a Frank Lloyd Wright house and got involved with the green building movement. And it's turned into an education component. I teach classes for people to pass the LEED AP exam.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And do LEED documentation now. It kind of rekindled my interest in architecture.
All right.
And this is a carbon dioxide sensor that we have in our office. If it reaches 1,000, it sets off an alarm. It means it's time to add extra ventilation to the office.
Or time to leave the building.
No, it's you know, if you have too much carbon dioxide, you get sleepy and drowsy and attention span.
And a little too much, you get sleepy and never wake up.
No, that's carbon monoxide. That's
I'm sorry. All right, thank you for correcting me on that. What's this, please?
This is the recycled carpet. I walked into Building Value, our building material reuse center here in Northside, and saw 2 skids of brand new carpet from SSA Architects. They had 2 skids left over. Scooped those right up, and you know, because I salvaged that carpet, I got points for salvage. And
you've been busy. We only have a couple more slides, I think. And
I replaced all the fixtures with LEDs and compact fluorescents.
Okay, I'm told this is the last one. Now
and we recycle everything. So.
Okay. All right. I think we have 2 photographs of your home, one of the interior.
Yeah, this is the Bolter House in Clifton.
And this picture is supplied to us. You wanted me to mention.
That was Tom Schiff took this panoramic photo.
And this is actually where you live?
Yes, since 2003, Janet and I. It happened very
elegant. And
very quickly. I learned about it on a Tuesday, and by Friday I was the owner.
Well, you must have good credit.
No.
and that's your home lit at night?
Yes. Now, people think that, well, what does Frank Lloyd Wright have to do with green building? But he has a lot to do with green building. He's a very...
Right. I'm afraid we're running out of time, and we have 2 chores to perform before we do that, and I apologize for that.
Well, for the next show, David.
Right. Exactly right. May we look, please, at 2 graphics that we have ready for the program. It is possible now, as I mentioned every week, to watch the program worldwide on a website called Vimeo, simply by going to the website that you see at the bottom of the screen, vimeo.com, channels MPWN. You can select whatever program, and we're told that we'll be able to eventually store almost all the programs in this series. I find that hard to believe since we've done 2,000 shows, but we will see. In the meantime, if you want to call Mr. Laurie, you could first of all look at his website, laurie.com, or use any of the 2 numbers below, and I'm sure you'll be able to speak directly with him by telling him that you know that Dave Surber said to call. We've got a minute. What do you advise people doing to watch? Should everybody watching start redesigning their home and look for the tax abatement?
Well, go learn. Go to the Civic Garden Center. Had a just recent opening of the Green Learning Station at Reading Road and Taft. Or go to the Cincinnati Zoo. There's Go Green Garden there. You can also learn more at the Fernald Visitors Preserve and join the local chapter of the U.S. Green Building Council. Mm-hmm. That's what got me involved with this, because I wanted to help do their marketing. I passed the LEED AP exam to do that. I got my office registered, and now I'm a green building consultant for several projects in the city.
Good for you. We're out of time.
Well, thank you very much, David.
Thank you for appearing on the show. We'll have you back soon. And of course, as always, thanks to all of you for taking the time to watch. Please watch next week.
Worldwide distribution of Make Peace with Nature is made possible by Dotster. Offering web hosting and domain name registration to more than 1 million businesses and individuals, Dotster is a worldwide leader in communications and e-business products. Dotster is our name. What name would you like?